Hey, and welcome back to Veach Season. We're a day late and $1 short. Veach Season, the only NFL podcast that is hosted by Chiefs General Manager Brett Veach. Per the usual, I am your guest host, Rocky Magaña, with my other guest co-host, Kramer Sansone, filling in
Hello.
for Brett Veach because, he's a busy man and wants nothing to do with this podcast.
Busy
Even
season
though
for him.
it's a very busy season. There is no off season when you're the general manager of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, especially when you're chasing history with a three-peat like the Kansas City Chiefs are.
It's a fair point.
That's a very fair point. I know, Kramer. I'm a fair man. The scales of justice are even in my hands. I am. And so we're a day late today. Kramer had a doubleheader yesterday, so we weren't able to record. But we'll let him talk about how that went for him and the outcome of all of that. But before we get to that, we got to hear from our main guy, my amigo caliente, Kramer Sansone. What's hot with Krame Dawg?
So, Rocky, what's hot with Krame Dawg? You know me, I'm a video game guy, right? I pretty much do the Madden simulations over on Arrowhead Pride. But college football is actually finally officially having another game. We actually know what a release date is. Another teaser to the trailer, an awesome graphic to the cover for it. July 16th, 2024. It drops. Cannot wait. It's gonna go on the new consoles. I'm not sure if you play video. I don't know if you have like any time to play video games, Rocky. But if you do, hit me up on that Dynasty mode. Even the people who listen here, if you want to join a Dynasty with me, I'm setting up day one. I'm gonna turn the New Mexico State Aggies into a powerhouse because why not? And I can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun.
Kramer, in another life before I had a family, kid, responsibilities, and zero free time on my hands, I was addicted. NCAA football was my number one game, man. And me and my roommates, James, our official legal correspondent, James Todd, was one of those roommates at those times. Yeah, the one and only James Todd Esquire. Not to be confused with Bill and Ted Esquire from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey and Bill and Ted's Part 3. I celebrate the whole canon of the Bill and Ted's movies, by the way. But anyway, once upon a time, me, James, my other buddy Thomas, who is salt of the earth, greatest guy you'll ever meet, the three of us, we would spend literally 72 hours without sleep building up our programs. And the rule was you had to start out with a 1-star program and then build it up to a national champion contender. And I won a national championship with Army one year.
Oh, let's go.
Which I think is pretty impressive. But you know what? Back on the old one, the cheat code was for a 1-star program to build up to a national champion was North Texas. North Texas was a 1-star, but you had that Texas recruiting pipeline though, right? And you had all the Texas recruits that you could recruit. And then we had a rule where you could create one player a year, right, on the create and then create a player mode and then drop them into the recruiting class. But the cool thing about the old one was that just because you created the player doesn't mean that they were going to sign with you, right? You had to recruit your own player to try to get him to come to you. But the better thing to do was to recruit your buddy's player and really just piss him off. And because he would know that he didn't have a quarterback, right? So he'd recruit he'd create this super athletic option quarterback or a guy with an awesome arm. And even if I had a blue chip quarterback already, I'd recruit the crap out of his quarterback just to torpedo his season and piss him off. And there's a famous thing that happened one time. So then what you could do is you built up your 1-star program. Once you turned your 1-star program into a powerhouse, then you get offers, right, from other teams. Then you could jump to whatever team you wanted. So I jumped to the Florida Gators.
Of course you did.
Time. Yeah, I jumped to the Florida Gators. There was one season where you mentioned the New Mexico State Aggies, where my buddy Thomas was the New Mexico State Aggies, and it was the national championship. I was playing against him as Florida, and I had him blanked in the fourth quarter, 35-0, and it was 2 a.m. And I said, and I had the ball. I could just run the clock out, right? I could take a knee, game over, win the national championship. And I looked at him. I said, you know what? I feel bad for you. I don't want you to get a goose egg in the national championship. So I ran all the way out the back of the end zone and gave him a safety. Gave him a safety on the final play of the game. So there was 35-2. And he was so insulted that he got pissed off and stood up and turned the Xbox off. And it didn't save.
Oh,
it didn't save my national championship victory. And then we had to play again. And I was like, no, I won. It was like, we're in our early 20s and we haven't slept in 3 days and we're half drunk and hopped up on caffeine. Which game was
this one? Was the most recent one before this?
Oh man, I can't even tell you. We had them all. We got the new one every single year when it came out. I can't even tell you when whatever the last one they made was is probably what it was. Yeah.
So the Denard Robinson cover. Gotcha.
Yeah, probably the Denard Robinson. Yeah, probably.
Go blue. Yeah, I can't wait, dude. I'm jazzed for it. I can't wait. I haven't played I can dust off the 360 right now and play NCAA 14 any day I want to. I do all the time, but it's like, I can't wait.
There was something about the gameplay where it was different enough from Madden that it felt unique, but then better. Also, it felt better. And the dynasty mode though was just so like with the recruiting pipelines and the fact that your team churned so often that it was like a constant like roster building. The roster building in the game was almost as fun as anything else for me, right? And so. Yeah, no,
it was so in depth, and I'm hoping, praying that this is going to be the exact same, almost, but even more in depth than what we've seen. But I honestly don't care if it is or not. I'm just glad we have a college football game back. It's been way too long. The fact that I'm happy that the name, image, likeness, they're giving out copies, and I believe is it $1,000? I want to say they're giving out free copies to players, and I think some cash. So that's at least going to be good for the people who are actually in the game.
Have they announced who's gracing the cover yet?
I think it's a multi. It's a multi cover with.
Is it?
It has. Oh my gosh. The cover looks like there's Sanders in the middle. Here's the cover. You can even see that.
Oh yeah. Okay, so there's Shadur Sanders, and then
is that
two guys
is that Manning? No.
Oh yeah, it's not Manning. That's an interesting question though for college football this year. Is like they got to start Arch Manning. He lit it up in the white versus orange game. What he played in the second half and had like 340 yards and like 4 touchdowns and 1 half a play when Quinn Ewers was like utterly ineffective in the game. But at the same time, Quinn Ewers took you so far last year. It's almost like a Jalen Hurts scenario all over again. When he was at Alabama, right? When they played him in the national championship game for Tua. But yeah, no, you can't you have to like if you want to keep Arch Manning in your program, you can't you got to start him you got to start him this year. You can't make him ride the bench twice.
Right. And that's also Travis Hunter in the middle. My bad, my mistake. But Quinn Ewers and Donovan Edwards is also on the cover. So it's Ewers.
Oh. So Quinn Ewers is on the cover of the game, but he shouldn't even be the starter in his program.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope he doesn't. I hope he does start then, because that'd be really embarrassing to be on the cover of the game, but then not even play.
That would be very embarrassing. But at least you can say you've been on a video game.
Yeah, that's true.
That's think of positives.
So speaking of 2014, FIFA 2014.
That's the best FIFA in the world. I agree.
If you go to FIFA 2014 and they have the little about each team section where you can read a little bit about it, in that little about it area, they talk about Sporting Kansas City, and in there's a thing talking about in the Cauldron, look for Sombrero guy, right? And because he goes crazy up on the scoreboard every single game. I was in a former life Sombrero guy. And was mentioned in FIFA 2014.
No kidding.
Yeah. I was mentioned in the FIFA 2014 game in a previous life when I was a super fan of Sporting Kansas City. I went to every single game and went nuts in the Cauldron wearing the blue sombrero, and I went completely nuts like a total jackass. And they put me up on the scoreboard. They'd have a timer going. And then if I made it 90 seconds, it said Sombrero guy went the full 90. And after every single time, I almost hyperventilated and passed out because I was drunk and sweating just straight booze and the hot summer heat packed in the cauldron at Children's Mercy Park.
So was that was 2014, 2015 season, you'd say?
Yeah, no. So since FIFA comes out a year ahead of time, right?
Yeah, so that'd be 2013, 14.
They actually put in like the 2014 one because I was there though, in like part of the 2013 season and the 2012, 2011 seasons. The year they won, what was the year was it 2013? The year they won the MLS Cup, I believe.
Yes, because that was the same year they traded James Shields and Will Royals traded them.
Yeah. So halfway through that season in July is when I joined the Peace Corps and I moved to the Philippines. And so the last game that I attended was right before the last game before the 4th of July, because I moved to the Philippines on July 5th. And on that game before that, on the scoreboard, it said, "Good luck, Sombrero Guy. Thanks for the memories," up on the scoreboard. And it was an awesome moment. But so it would have been 2013, 2012, 2011 seasons
we need to get you back to a sporting game. Come on now.
I know, but then at the same time, it's been so long. It's like you don't notice the sombrero still fit. You
still have a sombrero right now?
I don't, because when I moved to the Philippines, I gave it away to somebody, and so. But let me find it here. My old Twitter handle used to be Sombrero Loco SKC. But if we here, I'm going to share this screen real quick for this is the elite content that our YouTube listeners watch us over on YouTube.com under Foolish Club Media's YouTube site, because then you get to see this awesome thing that I'm about to show you here on my other screen. This was put out by Sporting Kansas City on their website in 2013, right before that season was getting ready to start.
Holy shit, it's Rocky.
A gift of me going completely nuts in the cauldron, wearing a blue sombrero, and it said, "Only 28 days to see this face. Can't wait, Sombrero Guy. TGIF."
Dude, that's awesome. That is so sick, Rocky.
Yeah. So in another life, I was a Z-list MLS celebrity that happened to get my name mentioned in FIFA 2014 for wearing a blue sombrero and acting like an idiot.
I learned something new from you every single week, I feel like.
Well, the funny thing was, I totally lucked into it. We wore the sombreros to the game. I wasn't the only one. It was a big group of us because we went on Cinco de Mayo, on like the Cinco de Mayo game in like 2011, and we all wore sombreros, and they just happened to put me up on the camera, and somebody was like, "Go crazy." And so I went crazy, and then like everybody started cheering, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And then somebody like 3 rows down was like, "You should wear the sombrero again next game and see what happens." And I was like, "No." And they were like, "Yeah, do it." And so then I gave into like the peer pressure around me, and I did it, and they put me on the screen again. This happened like 3 or 4 times. And then by like the 4th time, they had like a graphic that said Sombrero Guy, and my face is like on the graphic, like up on the scoreboard. And I was like, what in the F is going on right now? But it was fun, dude. And it was awesome. And the playoff game that season, I remember I was down in the cauldron at the bar ahead of time pre-gaming, and I was getting money out of the ATM. And it was the first playoff game that year. And I heard a voice behind me that he goes, "Hey, angry guy." And I was like, "What?" And I turned around, and it was Rob Heineman, right? Like the former owner. And I said, "Oh, hi, Mr. Heineman." He goes, "I need you to give me everything you've got tonight." And I said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I promise you. Without a doubt, I will give you everything I have, sir. Yes, sir."
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah, which is also what made us like Sporting Kansas City, and still makes Sporting Kansas City such a great organization and team to root for, is that they're so relatable and so accessible that you could just like literally talk to the owner face to face, and he's like, "Yo, get out there and act like an idiot for the team, because we need you to get everybody fired up."
Dude, that is great, man. Oh man, that's awesome.
And this isn't even an SKC podcast. This is a Chiefs podcast.
Exactly. Veach season, baby. You never know what you're going to get.
You never know what you're going to get on Veach season,
If he's not going to be hosting his own show, then we'll do whatever.
Listen, if you're not going to come and keep this train on the rails, and we're just going to drive it straight off into the ravine like it's like Mad Max Furiosa or something like that. Like this thing is going completely off the rails, and there's going to be a guy in a Speedo playing an electric guitar strapped to the front of a car. You know, this is a shit show of a show, Brett Veach, until you come in and take control of things. But yeah, so that's been what's hot with Krame Dawg.
Oh yeah, baby.
NCAA football is coming back. Go out and buy it. Support student athletes, and go and check it out. So luckily in the off season, sometimes Kramer, I sit there and I think to myself, what are we going to talk about on this week's podcast? Like there's some dry weeks in the middle of the summer. Now, luckily, you're such an easy guy to talk to, and you're so GD adorable and such a nice, kind-hearted man that I could talk to you for hours about absolutely nothing. And we're going to get into these long tangents like supporting Kansas City.
Yeah.
And we're always going to fill the time and go over and look up, and it's going to be an hour and a half. And I don't know where the last hour and a half went, but I know that we went on a friendship journey and that I really enjoyed it. And but this is not one of those weeks. This is a week where there's a lot of Chiefs stuff in the news. Yeah. Some good, some bad, some positive, some not positive. And I think we got to start it off right off the bat with addressing Harrison Butker's commencement speech at the Benedictine College he made last week. For those of you that haven't seen it or haven't heard about it, I don't know how you haven't.
It's out there.
It's out there on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. The gist is Harrison Butker gave the commencement speech at the Benedictine College, which is a conservative Catholic college in Kansas, and which he made some statements that are not outlandish if you are somebody who practices the Latin Mass and is a practicing Catholic who is a very conservative sect of the Catholic Church. But that being said, not everybody, that's a minority within the Catholic Church even. And so if you're not within that minority, some of the things he said were, listen, I'm going back and forth on what to say about this, and I'm going to get your take on this first before I dive into like my feelings on it all. But I don't want to just murder the guy over utilizing freedom of speech. Even if I didn't agree with a single word he said, which 99.9% of what he said I didn't agree with, I defend his ability to say it as an American citizen. You know, if we don't have freedom of speech, then we don't have anything. And we don't have this podcast if freedom of speech doesn't exist. And so even if I don't agree with somebody, I agree with their ability to say it, and their own words can like dig their own grave, and just let the court of public opinion, which is what this is, what we're doing right now, handle the situation how they see fit. So he's free to say whatever he wants. And he said it to a crowd that he knew was going to be supportive of what he said. He got a standing ovation for the speech because he was playing to the crowd, and he knew that's what the crowd wanted to hear. Now, I would never be found in that crowd. Let me get that out of the way. I am not somebody who shares Harrison Butker's worldview at all. And I'll get into it a little bit here in a minute. But before we get into that, what was your reaction, and what's your take on the whole Harrison Butker commencement speech?
I mean, at first it's not like that I was intrigued, but I was like shocked at like how like the road he was going down and while he was talking. So it's not like him being a very, as you could tell, conservative Catholic. I understand his viewpoint of how, if I put myself in his shoes, be like, okay, I understand why he said that. It's because of however his beliefs are. Granted, it's not however he views the world is not how I view the world and how it should be. But the fact that he's still using his First Amendment, freedom of speech, I'm pretty sure it's what it is in the amendments wise. You're allowed to do that.
I'm not an amendment scholar. No, I know that it's one of them.
It's freedom of speech. It is. Yes, first it's the first. Because second's the gun amendment, and I'm shocked. I'm glad he didn't bring that up, because that could have been another thing he could have put on his thing. He didn't do that. But the fact that he's able to use his freedom of speech is absolutely good. And do I agree with what he said? No, but it's not like if you go back and listen to what he said, there's a lot of people out there thinking he's bashing women. Granted, some of the things that he did say kind of felt that way, but it's not like he say women needs to be out in the kitchen constantly 24/7. He just basically said a woman's what best. This is a synopsis of what he said. A woman is there to basically be a mother, and that's how he was raised. That's how his family was growing up. I think also his mother was like a physicist or some type of science person in the world, but he's able to provide for his family and have that his family be that way. So I get why he said that. Plus, with the Clark Hunt, the Hunt's family, they probably believe the exact same way because one of the Hunt girls came out and said, "Yeah, I agree with what Harrison said. Like I understood what he said all of the way." But you don't go out there and also bash the month of June and what that means to certain people. So it's like you were talking yourself, like putting your fist right down your mouth as far as you can go. And I mean, heck, he touched on politics clearly the entire time. This is all a politics thing. But I also watched some clips on Twitter of a couple of students that were at the commencement speech, and they were female, and they're like, I don't understand why these people like this got up. Like I felt like I wasted my time now because of how he portrayed everybody that was there that didn't view what his viewpoint was. And like I felt bad for that guy right there because that's supposed to be a day where everyone should be celebrated. Everyone should be rejoicing the fact that you spent 2, 3, 4 years in college and you got your degree. That's what sucks. Like I feel completely bad for those people. But I'm gonna say this: like he used his First Amendment right. Do I agree with what he said? No, but that's the best thing about this the United States is you can agree with or disagree with what I say, what you say, what Harrison says, and then we can go about with our day-to-day lives again. Because I mean, if you don't care, I know I've talked to plenty of people right now that said I really don't care about the situation what Harrison's about to bring. It's not like he killed anybody. It's not like he was putting people in harm's way or anything. He was just using his words, and at times words hurt, and I understand that. But then my friends are like, I'm just going to keep scrolling on X. I'm going to keep scrolling on TikTok. I'm going to keep scrolling on Facebook. It's like, it doesn't really bother me.
100%. And then I think there's a huge portion of the population out there where it doesn't bother them. And if you're in that population and it doesn't bother you, then that's totally fine. But there is also a portion of the population there that due to their own life experiences and how they identify that his words were hurtful too, and their feelings are valid. In the same way, the Harrison Butker's feelings are valid as well. I don't think that he should be cyberbullied, to no end.
And the fact that
I'm anti-cancel culture in general, right? Like canceling somebody is dumb. Like regardless, like if you're gonna judge one person on their words in their worst moment, then we have to all be judged by our words in our worst moment. And none of us are going to come out looking good if we're all judged by our worst words that we say.
That is also bad. There was a social media account here in Kansas City released where Harrison lived. It's like, you just don't do that. It was quickly deleted and said sorry, but it's like, come on now, you don't do that. There's no need for that.
Well, yeah, at that point you're affecting like his kids, and his kids have no control over who their father is, and at the same time you're taking it a step too far. You're taking it into like, from a public platform to a private to somebody's private life. And there are people out there who feel very passionately and think that he deserves that. And I don't agree with that either. I don't agree with what Harrison Butker said. I don't agree with people doing that either. Here's what I agreed with what Harrison Butker said. I'll start off with what I agreed with first, and then I'll get into what I disagreed with. What I agreed with is that unequivocally, I think that children being raised in a 2-parent household is better than a 1-parent household. It's a simple numbers game. It doesn't have to be a husband and a wife. It could be, in my opinion, it could be two husbands, it could be 2 dads, 2 moms, a mom and a dad, a grandparent and a grandpa, but 2 parents present in a child's life, raising them, teaching them, looking out for them, loving them, making them feel safe and secure is vital to their development.
Here's the thing with me and my sake. Don't have a dad. I grew up 1-parent household, 2 boys my mom raised, and I think I turned out just as fine. Went to church, did all the things I needed to do. Heck, I'm not a Catholic or anything. I'm just a Christian. Like it's just how I want to believe in my beliefs.
I'll believe him. I have tons of. I actually have quite a few members of my friends that are gay. So it's like I don't really care. Like if like I always protect them and protect them alone. But growing up in a 1-parent household, I think I turned out just as fine. So I just wanted to put that out there. There are households that are like it that way.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna get to that. I'm not saying that
I know what you mean.
That single parent house. I grew up in a single parent household as well, right? And so, no,
I know what you mean.
Children can turn out just fine in single parent households, but it'll be very rare that you'll find a single parent who's raising their kids that says, "Man, I'm glad I don't have any other help around the house right now in raising these kids. I'm glad I don't have a second pair of hands to go discipline this one while I'm trying to bathe these other three." Right? You know, like that's the that's the thing. It's like it's not even it's for the kid, but it's also for the parent, right?
Yeah.
Like a 2-parent household. Heck, give me a 4-parent household. If I had 2 other adults to help me raise my kids, that would be awesome. If I had 2 adults for every 1 child in my house, that would be great. Like we would I think that we would just raise the hell out of these kids.
We would be able to play NCAA football.
Yeah, I would be able to play NCAA football. I'd be able to go out for a beer every now and again. Like, yeah, and so, but no, so I think that yes, no, this is no slight on single parent households. Single parents out there who are raising their kids and raising them to be smart, intelligent, emotionally secure members of society, you are heroes. Like F yeah, like you are GD heroes, and you're doing a hell of a thing that's super, super hard. And so you should be very proud of yourselves. But that being said, I think that, yeah, in a lot of cases, 2-parent households are, and it doesn't have to be a mom and a dad. Like it takes a village. Like it could be like even if you're being raised by a single parent household, if you have a community that surrounds you, right? Like if you live next door to your grandparents, but you have a single parent, right? Like that's like that in itself also kind of plays into the same idea. It's all about a support system, right? It's about having a support system to raise these kids. Also, the other thing I believe in, I think that positive masculinity is a good thing. Like I'm not I'm a guy. I'm married with 2 kids. And I believe in positive masculinity. I think toxic masculinity hurts men more than anything else. And it makes them feel insecure. It makes them feel scared. It makes them lash out. It makes them angry, and it makes them hurt people around them, especially the women in their lives. There's almost nothing worse than toxic masculinity, but positive masculinity, men who feel free to share their emotions. Like I share with you, I tell you, I love you all the time. I love you to death, Kramer. You're a great guy. Marky. I love you, man. Like I have no problem saying that to another guy. If I'm sad, I'll cry. I have moments of weakness. I have moments of strength. I experience the full spectrum of emotions. Why? Because I believe in positive masculinity. And I think that positive masculine energy is a good thing, the same way that positive feminine energy is a good thing. And you know, and where that masculinity, that positive masculine energy can come from a female or a male or whatever. I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying I think that the positive masculine energy in the world is a positive thing. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that I agree with Harrison Butker on. The things that I disagree with Harrison Butker on, I'm not gonna lay into him too bad, because I've been going back and forth on how I feel versus what I want to put on a public platform. Those are 2 different things, right? Like the same way that Harrison Butker had a choice what he feels personally versus what he said in the Benedictine College commencement speech are 2 different things. I can feel outraged about something that he said and not put it on this podcast. Like I have the choice to do that, right? Mm-hmm. And Harrison Butker made a choice to make the speech about his own political views and not about the achievement of the students, like you said. I think that was a shame. I think that was Bush League on his part, and he shouldn't have done that. Like you're there to give commencement speech. You're there to build up, prepare these guys to go out in the world. Now he may have thought he was doing that by some of the things that he said, but there's a lot of stuff in there that was just him choosing to have a platform for his own personal beliefs. With those personal beliefs, like yourself, Kramer, I was raised with a Christian background. Spent a lot of my life in the Christian church. At one point in time, I was a missionary overseas. And so I'm pretty well versed in the teachings of Jesus Christ. And here's the thing. When the disciples asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself, and bless those who persecute you.
Yep.
Okay. So the first thing that Harrison Butker said was, stay in your lane. Unless you're a theology major, don't question the teachings of the Catholic Church. Go to Latin Mass and don't think for yourself. Just trust the teachings. Wherein love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength does that play in? So that's the first thing. The second thing is the love the neighbor as yourself and bless those who persecute you. Now, a lot of people see that as the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But it's actually more than that. Love your neighbor as yourself means you do anything for your neighbor that you would do for yourself. So that means accepting somebody for who they are, meeting them where they're at, fulfilling a need they have. If they can't mow their own lawn, then you're supposed to go mow their own lawn according to the teachings of Christ. Nowhere in the Bible does it say to mock, ridicule, and make fun of people who are different than you. As a matter of fact, when Jesus met the woman at the well and everybody was going to stone her, he said, "You who's without sin, you all you jabronis who haven't effed up in your life, which one of you guys isn't an F up and has the right to stone this person?" And they said, "Oh," they all threw down the rocks and they walked away. And he said, "Hey, lady, where's your accusers?" And she said, "I have none," because they all left. And he said, "Yeah, that's right." Now, she was accused of adultery and all these things that made her a horrible person in her time and day in the eyes of the men who were getting ready to persecute her. Jesus didn't condemn her. And the thing is if you're a Christian and you believe that Jesus was the Son of God, the only person who was there who had the right to condemn her was Jesus. He was the one who was without sin in that moment, if you're a Christian, who could have cast that stone, but he didn't, right? And so the fact that he didn't condemn her, he was accepting to her. He's accepting to somebody who was seen as a mortal sinner, like Harrison Butker said about Pride Month. That was a low blow by Harrison Butker and had no place being, and it had nothing to do with his speech in the first place. He tried to use it as a quick joke that fell flat, and he should have just chosen to keep that part to himself and just not said it at all, and chosen not to hurt somebody. And the thing is that as a Catholic Church has lots of feast days. The Jewish tradition has lots of feast days where they celebrate overcoming the trials and tribulations and everything they've been through in their lives and the history of their faith. Pride is a similar thing where the gay community celebrates overcoming the trials and tribulations of them being who they feel that they are, on the inside. And so for Harrison Butker to take an essential jab at their feast day, I thought was below the belt, even if he didn't believe in it. And so I didn't agree with that as well. The whole time that he's saying stay in your lane, he says stay in your lane over 10 times.
Which I'm shocked.
Yeah, because you're a kicker. You're a kicker, Harrison Butker. Stay in your lane. Like if you want to go to the Benedictine College and give a kicking clinic, cool. Do that all day. But if you're going to sit there and tell people over and over and over again to stay in your lane, then take your own advice and stay in your lane.
Yep.
The other thing is, how do you sit there and I believe that if you're a Christian, that you think that God created the universe in 7 days, and you think that, or you think that, that the God is the master of the universe and Christ was the Son of God and everything, then your God is not a fragile God. And so to say that he can't stand up to cross-examination and questioning, and people having a question, like just genuinely searching and seeking and having questions, is ridiculous. So to tell people not to question, just to follow blindly, is just the blind leading the blind at that point. And you're making the institution bigger than the actual God that you're claiming to worship. And I'm not going to get into this too much more, but the other thing that like the thing that he said about women in the household. Here's the deal. No man has a right to tell a woman what to do with her life. She is a human within herself. If she chooses to be a homemaker, great. If she chooses to pursue a career and never have a family, great. Where she finds fulfillment is entirely up to her, in the same way that where you find fulfillment, Kramer, is entirely up to you. Where I find fulfillment is entirely up to me. People who say women should stay in the home are scared of female success in a lot of cases. And only weak men are scared of strong women, because you're weak and you're scared of another strong human being. Those are the same men who are scared of strong men, right?
Yep.
And that's just a simple, that's a belief that I hold very close to my heart. Now, the other thing about that is that he extolled the benefits of a single earner household and a mother staying home and taking care of her family. Now, this 1950s idealized life, for the bulk of human history, that has never been a thing. In the 1950s, it happened to be a thing because the Industrial Revolution happened and the United States was not currently in a war, and and housing prices were cheap enough that men could go out, earn for the house, bring it out back, and have a single income household.
Yep.
Who do you know now that can afford a single income household? Nobody. Nobody can. You know who can? Gracie Hunt and the Hunt family and Harrison Butker.
Yep.
And so you're speaking from a place of privilege, and you're sitting here saying, "Oh, well, single family, being a homemaker is a great thing." Yeah, it is a great thing, but who can afford it?
Yeah.
Who can afford to stay home and be a housemaker? And I'm sorry, Gracie Hunt, but you're telling me that your mom was a housewife and a homemaker. She wasn't the same type of housewife and homemaker that you're expecting every other woman in America to be. How many nannies and housekeepers did you guys have growing up? And I have a question. Did your nannies and housekeepers, did they live in a single income household where they had a stay-at-home wife? No, because they were taking care of your family.
Mm-hmm.
So you speaking from a place of privilege like that is not a fair comment to make across society as a whole. And you're literally trying to take what a billionaire and a millionaire can do and apply it to a society where that's not fiscally possible.
Feasible at all. No,
it's not. And then on top of that, you're tying somebody's manhood to their ability to provide to their family, for their family. So then what are you telling every single man in Kansas City who goes out, slaves, works outside in the blistering heat, a 40-hour work week, brings home $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, and his wife also works part-time, takes care of the kids, whatever. He helps take care of the kids. However their family dynamic looks like or a woman who goes out and the husband's staying home, like regardless, like you're sitting here and you're telling people that them literally busting their asses every single day to do the best they can for their family is not good enough, because you went to the Westminster school in high school, Harrison Butker. Your dad and your granddad was a doctor at Emory University. Your mother was a scientist at Emory University. You were raised in a place of extreme privilege. Mm-hmm. You have never known the life that you're telling these people that they need to come from, and you're trying to tell them to apply your rules of privilege to their everyday life. That's just not possible. And so I thought that it was very short-sighted, and I thought that he came across as a guy where, and I think this happens a lot of times with guys who are smart, and I probably come across this way too, if I'm being fully honest, is that when you're a somewhat intelligent human being and you feel like you have thoughts that you feel passionately about, you have this air of infallibility to what you're saying, where you think that you're right, or you know that you're right, and you come across as like somebody where if somebody ever questions what you're saying, then it's unquestionable. No, I know I'm right. That's why I'm saying it. So if you're questioning me, then you must be wrong. Listen, I might be wrong. Everything I might have said might be wrong. There could be listeners out there right now who are probably saying Rocky's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I disagree with him fully. Harrison Butker is my hero. If that's the case, you're more than welcome to your worldview. Yeah. And I would still say let's be friends. Like, I don't think any differently of you as a human being on a human being level. And the same thing with Harrison Butker. Like, I like Harrison Butker as much as I like him because he plays for the Chiefs. Like, I'm still going to cheer for him on Sundays. And if he lines up and drills a 60-yard field goal, like, I don't think he should lose his job and his livelihood over his comments. Like, that's just like, I don't believe that.
Because that goes the line of canceling, and it's like we're not. I'm not about canceling. I
hate canceling. I think it's the stupidest thing ever. And if anybody, and listen, if I start canceling people, I'm just putting a target on my back.
Yeah, exactly.
And while I try not to be a complete dickhead and a douchebag who says things that hurt people, I also am human, and I'm sure at some point in my life I've hurt people and I've done stuff that's stupid, right? Everybody has.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's had moments where they weren't great, and to ruin somebody's life over that moment, it's stupid.
Because they even had that petition going around saying, "Oh, we need all these numbers." Like, no, don't even waste your time signing it. There's just no reason to. But then there's some people out there like they feel very passionate about like, hey, yeah, I want him off the team. But here's the thing. That's a Chiefs decision. It's not your decision, Rocky. It's not my decision. It's heck. I know the NFL made a statement saying they don't agree with what his viewpoints. Which, I mean, good for the NFL for doing that. But let's not call for the guy's job here.
No, let's not call for the guy's job here. And here's the thing: is the Chiefs aren't going to cut him. Like, here's the simple fact of the matter: the Chiefs aren't going to cut him over his comments. And there was a fake story going around saying that Andy Reid told Clark Hunt, if Harrison Butker goes, I go. It was a lie. It was a fake story. It was on a satirical website, and people misshared it on Twitter, and it caught fire, and everybody started sharing it. And
I'm glad I missed that, because I did not see that whatsoever.
And here's the fact of the matter is that Andy Reid's not going to give up the chance of being of making history and a three-peat over a kicker.
Yeah.
Like, that's never going to happen. Like, even if he agreed with Harrison Butker, he's not going to like put his neck on the line for a kicker.
That, and
like,
also
Patrick Mahomes, maybe, but not a kicker.
The amount of time also Andy gives people second chances. Like, come on now. Like, that's just Andy wouldn't be like that.
Well, and here's the other thing too, where I'd caution people against the whole like he needs to be kicked off the team thing. Is, yeah, he said hurtful things that he shouldn't have said, and it offended you, and I hear that, and your feelings matter, and everything else. But he didn't beat a child. He didn't murder somebody.
Didn't kick a woman.
He didn't kick a woman on camera in a hallway, right? He didn't knock his wife out with one punch like Rashee Rice did. Like, these are things that people get kicked off a team for. He didn't do any of those things. And so while you don't agree with him, he has the freedom of speech to say what he wants, and it's not a reason for him to lose his job over. But yeah, we've wasted too much time on Harrison Butker already, so let's just move on.
Move on to the next one.
We'll move on to the next Chiefs that were in the news this week. So Harrison. So here's the thing, Kramer.
Yeah.
If you were, say, a second-year left tackle who just had your replacement drafted in the second round, and there's a lot of momentum from the fan base for this second-round draft pick to start ahead of you, but the Chiefs said, you know what? We're going to give you a chance to battle for your position and a chance to win it in the offseason. And in training camp, but you need to be in the good graces of the team because it's his opinion, the coach's opinion, and the front office's opinion is all that matters.
Right.
Would you go out and get arrested for smoking weed in Kansas when all you got to do is drive across the state line and smoke weed over there? Like literally, like there's that high V on state line, and don't smoke weed in the grocery store parking lot. Smoke weed in the liquor store parking lot on the other side of the street. Like, that's the difference we're talking about here. Wanya Morris and Chu Godrick, another offensive lineman for the Chiefs, were both pulled over in Johnson County and arrested for smoking weed this week.
Not a good look.
Krame Dawg.
Not a good look, because it's like, okay, I know there was some marijuana that was in their She Rice card. That was reported. And then the fact that also Texas is not a marijuana state from what I know. Missouri is, people. Just keep the stuff in Missouri. Like, there's no reason for you. Like, okay, I know I am guilty of whether or not I took something from Missouri or Colorado, did it in Kansas, and then made my on the way. I know I'm human. I mess up all the time. I know they messed up. But here's the thing. I don't do any of that stuff in Kansas ever anymore now because of the fact that I'm here in Missouri, live in Missouri, just north of the river. I can just go to my dispensary, get my edibles that I want, and just have a good old time. But also, why are you driving with this stuff? Like, come on now. I hope they weren't. Because I don't know fully on the story. I hope they were not high while they were driving because that's still a DUI. That's still driving while intoxicated. You don't do it. Just don't even think about even doing it. I hate the fact that this happened in Johnson County. You were so close to the line.
It's not like they
So
were
close.
in Wichita or Topeka and they got busted smoking weed in Kansas. Like, you are in Johnson County. You are within 5 miles of legal weed smoking at any point in time that you are in Johnson County, right? Basically, unless you're in like Gardner, right? But like, even then, it's a 30-minute drive. Like, we're like literally just drive across the
go to state line. Just go to state line and go across. That's all I'm asking for you.
Like, I mean, like, what are you thinking?
And then you made a good point prior to we started. Like, we don't know what could be with Godrick after this.
Yeah, so that's the other point is Godrick came in via the International Pathway Program, which means that he's in the United States on a work visa. Like, I hope that this doesn't affect it. I don't know. We don't have James on here this week to give us the legal insight on that. I'll try to get an answer from him and see what he thinks about it and report back. But like, you may have just messed up your entire career over one stupid mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that they deserve to have their careers messed up over this mistake because, like you said, 5 miles away, it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
So this, like, just be smart. And the thing is like, I don't even think the Chiefs are really probably even that mad about it because it's legal.
Exactly.
It's more just like, stay out of the news.
Yeah.
Like, you're like Wanya Morris more than Godrick. Wanya Morris, you're in a position battle right now. The moment that Kingsley was drafted, you were in a position battle for your job. The trajectory of your entire career, whether you are viewed as a backup swing tackle or a starting left tackle in the league, is dependent entirely on the outcome of this position battle in this offseason. You're either going to be a starting left tackle for the next 3 years and then go into free agency as starting left tackle, or you're going to be a backup swing tackle for the next 3 years and then go into free agency as a backup swing tackle. Right. And so this is the most important offseason, arguably, of your entire career. And you go out and do something dumb. Like young men in Kansas City, be smarter about your future.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is an old head who made a lot of stupid mistakes and didn't get to where he should be in life as early as he should have been, because he did a lot of stupid things when I was younger. I never, thankfully, I stayed out of jail. But like, just be smart about your future and be intentional about the decisions you make that could affect it. That's it. Like, that's the whole thing right there.
And I'm not the person over here that's like telling you to be like how Stephen A. Smith once said, lay off the damn weed. I'm not saying that right now. Like, because I mean, we saw the NFL has reduced its findings and stuff like that. It's pretty much non-existent now. Like, the NFL is open, like, hey, if you got it, smoke it, basically. And I mean, as long as you just don't get drug tested in certain times. But I mean, still, I'm not really sure how much of the because I mean, Josh Gordon made his way back into the NFL. I'm pretty sure that it's very, very lax, because kind of like how the NBA is. I'm not sure how the MLB is, but it's out there. And if you are somehow on a team that does have legalized marijuana, go out there and do it. Do it safely, and don't do it in states that it's just not allowed. Like, can we please be smart now? Like, that's just this right here. It shows if they didn't know, they should have learned, because every single state is completely different.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, like just be smart about it. Like, there's a reason why Travis Kelce was wearing sunglasses at night at Kelsey Jam
Yeah, no kidding.
and posing for photos, right? Like don't put your bloodshot eyes on social media for everybody to see. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. Now, I don't know if they were drunk or if they were smoking or if they were completely sober. I don't know anything at all, but I do know that because they were wearing sunglasses, we don't know. We can make no speculation about it one way or the other because they were wearing sunglasses, and so we have no indication.
And I'm pretty sure that was also in Kansas as well.
Which,
I mean, Yeezy's going to be there. Our 2 Chainz, they're going to probably light up.
I mean, yeah, like Yeezy probably wasn't even smoking weed. Let's be honest. Like, he was on the syrup, right? Let's just be honest. He was on the codeine.
You're right. Okay,
I mean, let's be real. Now, 2 Chainz is probably blazed out of his mind, right? And so, but no, I don't want to. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, so we're allegedly.
I'm not making any claims about Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce while at Kelsey Jam at all.
Nope.
What I am saying is the fact they're wearing sunglasses at night.
A little sus.
Well, it made it to where nobody can say anything because
true.
we can't you can't speculate because you don't know because we couldn't see their faces.
You know what?
Right?
The lights from the stage could have been bright and it could have been messing with their eyes.
100%.
Because I know my baby blues, light messes with me constantly. I'll get migraines like easily. So it's.
I mean, listen, I have ADD and I have facial tics as well, and the light messes with them. I mean, I watch back our podcast, Kramer, and the people who watch us on Twitter. I'm thankful that nobody's ever pointed it out, but I'm twitchy as it gets. My eye twitches every other second to the point where, like, numerous times in my life, people have thought that I'm winking at them when I am not. Like, I
always thought you were. Okay, thanks for letting me know.
Well, I am winking at you, Kramer. I'm winking at you, buddy. But everybody else in the world, I'm not winking at you. Unless you want me to wink at you, then I'm winking at you. Right? That's where it goes. Like, if you don't want me to wink at you because I'm a creepy looking dude, then I'm not winking at you. But if you want me to wink at you, it's a wink. But yeah, no, I got this crazy eye twitch. I've had it my entire life since I was like 13, and I watch myself back on these YouTube videos, and I'm like, just keep your face still for 2 GT seconds. Oh my God,
dude!
And
don't worry about it at all. I'm constantly moving. I talk with my hands, if you couldn't tell, and I'm like moving around my chair the entire time. I always try to make sure I'm in frame, but it's like that's my thing. I have ants in my pants.
We all got it. We all got our thing. You have ants in your pants, and I have a twitchy eye. I'm like, hey, my name's Rocky. How's it going? This is my eye twitch. Like, if you guys are watching this on Twitter, you just got some elite visual content.
Right. I'm hoping Serta clips that at the end.
Yeah, I hope that ends up on. I hope that ends up. Hey, Serta, put this out on X. Thank you. All right. I called it X. What am I?
Oh, you're me. I said Twitter earlier. What's going on?
Gosh, dang it. All right. Anyway, moving on. We got to wrap this up. We can't just talk all night and hang out. I have a family.
Caitlin.
So, an additional bit of news. Another chief that ended up in the news that wasn't his fault. Xavier Worthy went out and bought a brand new car this week. Really, really nice automobile. Put it out on social media. Super proud of it. And then some stupid jabroni in Kansas City went out and stole. Be better, young men or women or whoever did it. Like don't welcome our new player to the city by going out and stealing his draft present to himself. Like shame on you. Like, be a better person. Like, I know that some people are just a-holes and dickheads, but don't be a dickhead. Stop stealing Chiefs players. Stop ruining big moments for Chiefs players. Dumbasses of Kansas City. Like, literally, the parade, you ruined it by being a dumbass. Xavier Worthy goes and buys himself a draft gift, and you ruin it by being just don't be dumbasses. Be more intentional about your future. I'm feeling like such an old man right now. My dad's side is coming out of this podcast, Krame.
So that report came out on Thursday, correct? So I get to work. I wake up in the morning about a little before 5 o'clock, and I leave my apartment complex by 5:20 to head to work. Be there before 6. I get out to my car, walking to my car. Luckily, Caitlin's awake. That's my fiance, and I call her because I'm like, "Yo, where'd you park your car?" And she's like, "It's right next to yours as always." And I'm like, "It's not there." My fiance's car got stolen on Thursday as well, the same day that that Xavier Worthy's car was stolen here in Kansas City. So I don't know what's going on here in Kansas City right now, but that's at least 2 known stolen vehicles in one day.
Mayor Lucas, we need something done about this Grand Theft Auto going on in our city. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, that's how my Thursday was. Yeah, oh man.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, dude. That sucks. Tell Caitlin I'm sorry.
I will. Yeah, no,
that's the worst feeling, just to have something like that just like taken from you, and just to walk out and just be like, wait a minute.
It's like, there's a car missing here, and I know she parked next to me.
Where's my thing that belongs to me?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I hate people. I know hate's a strong word. I strongly dislike people who stoop to that level and want to do that. So it's like, I feel for you, Xavier. Trust me, I feel for you, man. May not be the nice, shiniest car in the world, but I know my fiance, I'm in the other room right now, misses that car clearly. But I mean, we're all good. Good thing we have insurance.
Listen, yeah, and listen. There's the world is full of people struggling to get by, who don't go out there and steal things from people that don't belong to them. The world is full of people who are fighting and struggling and doing everything they can to keep themselves afloat, and they don't do it at the expense of other people, right? And so, like, we talk about like toxic masculinity, like that sort of stuff is like men goading men into doing that sort of thing, or stooping to that level to feel like they have to do that to provide or to make money for themselves, or just to be selfish, just because they're selfish and they want to be able to get they want to do it, right? Like that's the sort of masculinity that's toxic and harmful. And just be better.
Yeah.
Be better humans. That's the ultimate message right there. And everybody wants to everyone wants to like kind of knock on Travis Kelce sometimes, saying he's just like a big oaf party animal. But
he earned it.
He's being a better person. He's grown into a better person than he was when he came into the league.
Hey, he's not throwing flags back at referees, so I mean that's a plus.
He's not doing jerk off motions
towards
opposing players and referees either. And you know, he credits Andy Reid with that too. There's an article that came out in Yahoo Sports just today where he was on a Zen Water commercial set. They shooting a commercial for Zen Water where he said that basically he's a more mature player now than he was when he came in the league, and he credits Andy Reid with that and giving him the opportunity and the ability to develop and grow into who he is and develop as a player. Kelsey Jam happened this week as well. We mentioned that previously. Did you or anybody you know check that out, Krame?
I had a guy on my baseball team went out there for it, and he said it was absolutely elite. So I took his word for it. He had a good time. He's like, man, that was the first time I ever got to see Yeezy in person. Like, it was dope. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome, dude. So
they were live. Yeah.
Like people I know went there to watch it. They had a very fun time.
Yeah, they were live streaming the concerts on Twitter, and so I watched about half of Yeezy's set, and it was pretty good. He was good. I'm a fan of Lil Wayne. I'm a fan of 2 Chainz too. I like them both. Like that was a nice little lineup.
Heck, I know you wanted me to go out there and report because I feel like I've been doing a lot of Chiefs recently.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
I was at the Royals game with my mom, so I was like, I had something to plan.
Oh well, okay, mama's boy.
Oh yeah, I am.
Yeah, you should be. You're raised by a single mother, and she's a saint. If she raised you, then
she's straight, buddy.
She is ace. She's aces in my book. You recently, before we get out of here, a couple things to cover real quick. First and foremost is you rappelled down Arrowhead Stadium.
Dude, yeah, it was nuts, man. That was sick.
Yeah.
the first thing they did when we went up this after we got harnessed up and everything, the first thing they showed us was, hey, look over at the field. Tell you what, right now the field doesn't look that great. The goalposts are gone. There's some patches in the grass, which I mean, it's the off season. They have time before week 1. The field looks great though, minus all like the mismatched patches. It was cool to see up 10 stories high. So I was like up in the lights. Wow. I wasn't nervous at all, but the weirdest thing possible was when they had you strapped and harnessed, you're out the side, you had your feet on the wall. So basically, they said put your hand out left and your hand out right. I'm literally like this hanging, like almost. I'm like, this just feels weird. Then once I got going, it was great. It was awesome. Like I can't wait to do it again next year. But
yeah, you got to trust the equipment, Krame.
I trusted the equipment. Even when the guy was like, yeah, we're using some techniques that they used for the St. Louis Arch when they built that. And I'm like, okay, I'm completely fine because I know how that was built. I know the history of the St. Louis Arch down to a T. I think after that dude said that, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like me walking down the side of the street backwards. And that basically was.
That's awesome, dude. And you better not have sabotaged our stadium.
I may have put a sticker somewhere.
If you put a sticker, gosh, if you did, I'm about to like go on Fiverr, find a drone pilot, have him locate the sticker, and then hire another Fiverr guy to go up there and peel it off and replace it with a cheese sticker. And I don't have that many $5 bills, Kramer. I got a family I have to take care of.
Don't worry about spending $5. I didn't put anything on there. Just my spirit was there.
All right, good. Well, just you didn't curse it or anything with your black magic Raider voodoo.
I could have. I did say a prayer, but I mean, I'm kidding.
Well, I hope that God doesn't listen to Raiders fans.
Saying that on this entire podcast that we just talked about. That's
great. All bad things that happen to Raiders fans. Well, you shouldn't have rooted for the wrong team. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, OTAs are happening this week. The Chiefs had their first OTA practice. Rashee Rice was in attendance, which he should be. Like the offseason you've had, you need to be doing absolutely everything that you can to get in the good graces of this team. These are voluntary workouts right now. Later in June, there's 3 mandatory workouts for the entire team, but the first 11 practices are all voluntary. So take what you want from them. It's 11 on 11s, no pads, no contact. They're able to do some install stuff, but end of the day, they're not that important. Like they're important, but not that important.
It's important that Rashee Rice is there, though. Even though it is voluntary, I still think this also shines a light onto him. It shows the light onto what his actual true character is. He's not around his friends that had him stoop down to the lowest level possible because they weren't seeing the best interest for him. They were just all self-centered in that way, I believe. But I think it's good. I think he can only do this for so long because who knows if there is a suspension even that is looming, if it's even looming, and how many days he's going to have to be away from the team. At least you're there now. At least you're trying to get your reps in, and you're still having that saving grace of, hey, I'm still the guy that you drafted me last year.
Yeah, so over on Arrowhead Pride, Pete Sweeney had an article today on the website where he quoted Roger Goodell, who basically said we're letting the judicial process play out in the Rashee Rice case before we make any determinations, which for Chiefs fans may end up being the best case scenario because this could drag on for quite some time, which means that his availability may not be in question to start the season.
Yeah, and that's honestly that's like almost like a saving grace because, I mean, I kind of want to see Rashee Rice do what he kind of ended the season with last year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, especially with the way the Chiefs start the season. Oh my gosh, Kramer, we haven't even talked about the schedule yet. We're an hour into this thing. We haven't talked about the Chiefs' schedule at all.
I didn't even think about the schedule. I mean, people on the Foolish Club Media have already dissected that. If you haven't clicked on the Steven Cerdan, I think he was with Joe Summers as well with their schedule release thing. Go get that a listen right now if you want. No, after this, then you give that one a listen if you want.
Yeah. Long story short, the Chiefs opened the season versus Baltimore on the day after my birthday on September 5th. Also the day after Beyonce's birthday, which is also September 4th, like myself. We share the same birthday. but yeah, so they opened the season versus Baltimore at home, and then Cincinnati at home. That's a pretty bang back to back. Baltimore and then Cincinnati
It's fun.
to start the season. It's a lot of fun. Then they get a week off with Atlanta. Basically, they get to travel down to Atlanta. You get a chance to catch their breath before traveling out to Los Angeles and
that
playing
Atlanta
against the
game is going
Chargers.
to be more close than you think.
Depends on who the quarterback's going to be. If it was Kirk Cousins, sure. They end up playing Michael Penix, which I don't think they will.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, they shouldn't. And then they roll straight into the New Orleans Saints, which is also a W. And before they have the bye week. Then they have a bye week on week 6. It's an earlier bye week than the Chiefs usually get. And then week 7, they come straight back after the bye week, and they have the Super Bowl rematch coming out of the bye week, traveling down to San Francisco to take on the 49ers, which should be a fun game. But we know how Andy Reid plays well. He plays good out of the bye week. So if there was a time that you had to play the Niners again, coming out the bye week, I guess, is the best possible scenario, right?
Yeah.
And then Halloween week, Chiefs in Las Vegas against the Raiders for on October 27th for Halloween.
I'll tell you
How
what.
You feeling about that, Kramer? Are you gonna dress up? You're gonna dress up like John Madden?
That'd be pretty sweet.
And go to Las Vegas to watch the Chiefs play the Raiders.
Dude, I want to go watch them so bad in Las Vegas. That'd be sweet. I mean, people do classify it as Arrowhead West now because of how many times that they've won. But from what I know, the Raiders are pretty good on holiday weeks or days. I think it'll be okay. Merry Christmas, Rocky.
Man, yeah, we are playing on Christmas again. We'll get there in a second.
Well, and you're playing them. Yeah, you're playing on. Yeah, that's just weird too. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So then we got Tampa. Unfortunately, they're playing Tampa in Kansas this year instead of in Tampa Bay, so I'm not gonna get a chance to go play here in town in person. Right? Yeah, they're playing Tampa in Kansas City. So boo.
Make a trip to Atlanta to watch them there.
Yeah, well, it's 4 hours from my house, so it's actually not too bad.
Yeah.
It's doable. Then if they follow that up by going to Denver, by playing Denver and Kansas City on November 10th. Then we got Buffalo on November 17th, probably one of the first truly cold weather games maybe in Buffalo. And then they go straight down to South Carolina, which is another win. Then before they host the Raiders on November 29th to kick off the Christmas season. Yeah, to really set the Christmas season off on the right foot. They play the Raiders, then they play the Chargers at home the following week on December 8th. Then they travel to Cleveland, and maybe the last time that Travis Kelce ever plays in his hometown and in Cleveland. So expect a big game out of Travis Kelce on December 15th. Before, are you kidding me? Like the NFL is so stupid. And then they play Houston at home on December 21st before turning around and playing Houston before turning around and playing Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh on Christmas Day. So anyway, the Chiefs are playing on Christmas Day, and it's just not feasible. And I might be in the minority here, but I don't like Christmas football at all. I got more important things to do. I got a family. I got wife and kids. And it's because we cover football for our job, right? So I don't get to just casually watch it like the fan does. But writing 3 articles and doing a post-game show on Christmas Day is not something that I want to do.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So the fact that they keep on scheduling the Chiefs on Christmas Day, I'm just like, guys, just can I just have one Christmas where I'm not fighting with my wife?
No, it's 4 days of rest, dude. You don't have enough time. That's not enough time at all.
It's not enough, especially during Christmas. It's not enough time during during the Christmas season. Traveling's harder. Things are just more hectic at home. Yep. It's the worst time to have a 4-day turnaround. It's so dumb. And then they have a long week, and then they finish the season like they always do with the Denver Invitational, playing in Denver, and they'll probably be resting
the Chiefs.
Yeah, they'll be resting their starters for sure by that point. A couple of things to note on this season thing though is that for the first time, Netflix has a game. They have Netflix has the Christmas Day game that they're streaming live, which is interesting. I mean, they're trying to get on some of that Prime Video money that Prime's been having, and I like having it on the streaming services. It's easier for me to watch out of market than to try to hopefully hope that it's being carried on Paramount Plus and that it's not the out of market game that day.
So I beg to differ because we just had to cancel our Hulu, we had to cancel our Paramount, and luckily we're still getting our HBO for my brother. So it's like we just got Netflix because we wanted to eliminate 2 in order to gain 1 just for football, and that's like it sucks. But I mean, that's life. What we live in now, everything's streaming.
Yep, that is a life. You have to make your decisions and pay for it all piecemeal. That also being said, if you look at the schedule, the Chiefs got Baltimore at home, Cincinnati at home, and the Texans at home. If you're going to talk about like their hardest games, aside from Buffalo and San Francisco, that's 3 of their 5 hardest games that they get to play at home. They got the positive side of the split of their hardest games at home, which, they start off the season hard, but at least they get to play those back-to-back hard games in front of a home crowd.
And that's you got to be thankful for about that, because I don't think I would want to play Baltimore or even with Cincinnati for the Bengals. Like home field advantage means a lot in the NFL. And it's weird saying that too, because I feel like majority of Mahomes' games that he's lost have been at home rather than being on the road. For some reason, he's just electric on the road. Like he's just unbeatable. He can do whatever he wants. He can literally walk on water if he wanted to a victory. Because I mean, sometimes I feel like he could. We'll see. I'm curious to see how they start off really slow usually in the first game. They somehow, they lost last year against Detroit by 2 points. Then I was also with Chris Jones up in the penthouse suite watching the game from the sideline. So I'm curious. I can't wait to week 1. It's going to come so quick. Like before we know it, Rocky, players are going to report for their training camp. Then we're going to see the preseason week 1. Then it's week 1.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing is the Chiefs could start off this season 0-2 very conceivably, and then still finish and
win the division.
Yeah, they still finish 13-4.
Yeah.
Like let's be honest, right? Like the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and that's how it's going to be.
It's really good coached from top to bottom. That's really what you need in the NFL.
Yeah, 100%. And looking at this schedule, it feels like either a 13-4 or more likely a 12-5 season. I feel like this is looking at this schedule, looking at our roster and the other rosters around the NFL, I feel like this is a 12-5 schedule, and I think that's going to be more than enough to win the division this year.
Here's the thing too, but I can also see. I mean, the Broncos beat the Chiefs once last year, if I remember correctly. I know the Chargers didn't beat the Chiefs at all last year. That they could split. I literally think they could split every single game in the division this year. So I'm curious to see who actually does. No, come on, Rocky. I literally think they could split the division, and however the win-loss is, but it doesn't matter. The Chiefs are still going to win more games outside of the division than what the guys in the division are going to do.
You think the Kansas City Chiefs are going 3-3 in their division this year, with Bo Nix at quarterback for the Denver Broncos, with Gardner Minshew.
Here's the thing, because the Invitational at the end of the season, that could be a win for the Broncos. That could have what happened. Did they win? The
only way that the Broncos win the final game at the end of the season is if it's already all sewn up and the Chiefs already have
so they could easily split
12 or 13 wins. But
Jim Harbaugh is actually going to coach the Chargers perfectly.
If the Chiefs are far enough ahead to rest their starters in week 18, then they didn't split with the other 2 teams in the division.
It's true. So I'm curious to see how it goes.
So
this is going to be. Remember when Khalil Mack came into the team and Devontae Adams came into the West, and people were saying, "Oh, man, this is the West to watch." This is if you're watching the NFL, you need to be locked into the AFC West because it's going to be amazing. Chiefs just dog walked everybody in that thing, and everyone's like, "Yep, we were wrong. We were wrong." They didn't have yet to say that this year, and I think there's a very strong possibility when you have Sean Payton in year 2, well coached for the Broncos. I'm curious to see what Bo Nix is. Bo Nix absolutely and Sean Payton have connected from what I've been reading. Jim Harbaugh, you can't count out when Jim Harbaugh is going to coach. And I like Antonio Pierce as the head coach and being a helpful signal caller for the Raiders. And if he's already beat the Chiefs once, he can do it again. Now, depending on if it's going to be in Las Vegas or Kansas City, that's the weather for them to execute. But that's just what's going to happen.
You think that you come out publicly and say that we have instituted the Mahomes rules, and then Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are not going to be locked in to whoop your ass the next time you play?
Well, you should be. You need to be locked in no matter what.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's not I'm sorry, Krame, but I don't think there's a chance that the Raiders beat the Chiefs this year. If we look at the schedule, like the 5 hardest games, like I said, were Baltimore, Cincinnati, San Francisco, Buffalo, and Houston. I think that the Chiefs go 3-2 in those games. And so the Chiefs drop 2 of those games. That's 2 losses. I think you figure in a stupid loss somewhere to somebody like Atlanta or New Orleans
or Las Vegas
or I consider that a stupid loss.
So
that's 3 losses, and then you figure in, and then I figure in 1 divisional loss, and that's another loss, right? And so that's 4 losses right there. You go 13-4 on the season. You sew up the division. Now maybe it's 12-5 because they have it locked up, and then they drop the last game to Denver because they rest their starters. I'm gonna say 12-5 on the year.
I say.
What's your prediction?
I say
11-6.
Yeah, I think they barely get over that 10-win mark. I think 10. If they get 10, I'd be shocked. But 10-7 can be a possibility. But I think 11-6 seems about right.
What's your prediction for your Raiders?
If I'm being honest with you, I'd like the schedule. I've yet to do my win-loss record for it.
Well, I'm gonna look over it really quick, and I'm gonna tell you what it's gonna be.
I'm pulling it up right now as we speak.
All right, loss.
Okay.
All right. It's easier for me to count the wins than it is the losses. Hold on.
2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, 7-3, 8-3, 9-3. Probably lose the Buccaneers. That's 9-4. Probably lose the Falcons. 9-5. I say about 10-7. 10-7. They go 3 games above 500.
I got them at 5-12.
Okay, Rocky. Okay. 5 wins. Okay. They better be good. So 2 of those ones.
I'll give you 6-11. I'll say they're going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They can have the Pittsburgh Steelers as well.
They haven't lost the Denver Broncos in like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. That's 2 wins right there.
That's 2 of your wins right there.
They're going to split the Chargers. They'll split the Chiefs.
They're not going to split the Chargers. They're not going to split the Chiefs.
They've always split the Chargers. They always split the Chiefs.
Always?
Okay.
Always split the Chiefs?
You're right. You're right, Rocky. You're right.
No.
Rocky, I hate saying it, but you're right, man. You're just right.
I think that the 7
10-7. Just give it to us. Give us 9-8. Give us 9-8.
I'll give you 8-9.
So what we finished last year. Okay. All right. I think they do a little better than what they did last year.
Well, we'll see. I think that I think Denver's going to finish worse than 8-9. If that makes you feel any better. And
I still think the Raiders are the second best team in this division.
Yeah, I don't think the Chargers finished better than 8-9. So I think that you guys maybe you guys will be sitting in second place. That's fine.
I mean, I'm fine with that. We'll take first place at some point. Not anytime soon, but we'll take it.
Like when Mahomes retires, you guys might have a chance at winning the division again.
Maybe when Travis Kelce retires. Never thought about that.
Is Andy Reid still the head coach? Is Patrick Mahomes still the quarterback? Is Rashee Rice in the prime of his career? Is Xavier Worthy in the prime of his career? Is Devontae Adams 35 years old by that point?
Or is Florio going to release another article saying that Andy Reid might be really close to retirement after this upcoming year? You know, he signed that 2-year extension.
It's already typed up. I'm sure.
Oh, it already is. It's in the queue.
Yeah, he has it like on his tweet deck, like ready to go out. All right, it's been an hour and 20 minutes. It's time for us to wrap up the shenanigans and get out of here. As always, everybody, thanks for rocking with us. Thanks for hanging out with us. We did. We tried to get out of here, but we just can't yet, Kramer. You know why?
What's that?
Because we had a 5-star review on Apple
let's
Podcasts.
go.
Yeah, I don't know if they were talking about us per se, but Foolish Club Media had a 5-star review where it was where we weren't we may have been explicitly mentioned, but we got it says that one was not us, so we're gonna skip that one. What do we got here? Missed the last month and a half of content. 2 questions. If the 2024 season was a song, what song would it be? And if the players from last year are not returning, who will you miss the most? Mine is Gay with an honorable mention of Allegretti. And then we also had one that said recently this was from that first one was from #Parks. And this other one is from Brona Lisa. And it says, really enjoying Veach season and Serta's Chiefs briefs. I think Cody needs to be a regular guest. And I missed the Cody / Serta talk. But yeah, so really enjoying Veach season. And that was from Brona Lisa. Thank you. Thank you, Brona Lisa, for the kind words and the shout out.
Yes, appreciate that.
Oh, and somebody else said, this was Pink Patty McGee said, I'm like Danny Shelton chasing Tyreek Hill around in man coverage. In quotation, 5 stars.
Awesome.
Pink Patty McGee, we love you, bro, or broette, or sis. But that being said, answering the question, if this season 2024 was a song, what would it be, Krame?
Oh my goodness. Can we go Journey, Don't Stop Believing? Because the third one might be coming.
I could see that. I'm gonna go with We Are the Champions because we're gonna three-peat and take it all.
Okay.
Or actually even better, I'm gonna go All I Do Is Win by T-Pain and Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
And about 10 other people.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say all I do is win, 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 no matter what is our song for the 2024 season. Or what was the other one by Lil Sean or Big Sean? I don't F with you. I don't want to F with you.
I don't with you.
Yep. There's a million trillion things that I'd rather F and do.
Yep.
Than to be effing with you. I don't give a F. Yeah, that one too as well.
That's also a good one. I'll piggyback on you.
So #Parks, you got a playlist from us instead of just a single song. And I will miss Nick Allegretti the most out of all players that are exiting the team because he's the one that when we needed him the most stepped up playing for an injured Joe Thuney in the Super Bowl, blew out his elbow and was screaming on the sidelines, I need an effing brace, because there was no chance that he was going out of the game with a blown out elbow, and he gritted and fought all the way through and protected Patrick Mahomes and helped us win that Super Bowl. So Nick Allegretti is a GD American Kansas City hero in my book, and I will miss him dearly.
Did he list players to choose from or just pick one?
So just pick one. He said Gay and Allegretti. Gay was the one that he was missing the most, but
I'm gonna miss L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed did so much for that defense, man. Like that was one of another heartbeats to the defense of that historic run they had. It's like I don't know what the Chiefs are going to do to hopefully try to replace that to fill the shoes that he's actually leaving in, because he was such an X factor on defense, and you just cannot take that away from him. I'm curious what he does in Tennessee, but man, the Chiefs, I think, might be hurting a little bit without him. They're going to adapt. They will survive. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, but man, he will be missed.
I don't say this often, Serta, but I called you Serta. I don't say this often, Krame, but you're right. You're right,
man.
Yeah, I think we're going to miss – the team's going to miss Sneed the most. for sure. I mean, I've said it numerous times. Give me 11 L'Jarius Sneeds and I'll take over the world. I think that he's just a complete player and he's such an effective tool. And so, yeah, I'm going to miss L'Jarius Sneed the most probably too upon second thought and retrospect. All right. Now we're officially going to really get out of here. But leave us a 5-star review because we will read them on air and talk about it if you reference Veach season. Otherwise, we'll leave the other ones for Serta to talk about, especially if they're ones that say something bad that's not directed at us. If you say something bad directed at us, we'll read it on air. But if it's bad and not directed at us, we're not going to read it on air. So
feel free to submit anything you want, basically, and to say it for Veach season.
Yeah, just direct it at us, and we will read it on air.
Or at the end of it, you know how I chime in like Veach season, baby, like Veach season. Let's do this.
Yeah, wild card.
Wild card, like an Always Sunny.
Always Sunny. Yeah, wild card.
Wild card, bitches. Yeah.
All right, rate and review. Leave us a comment. We love you. Thank you for the privilege of your time. We'll talk to you guys next week. Be good to each other and love each other.